Last hour, we learned from January to now, firefighters have already had more rescues than this time last year. And all new this hour, Elena is joining us live to tell us where most of these rescues are happening across the valley. Elena, good morning. I see lots of people already out and about this morning.
Hey, good morning. Yes, there are quite a few people here at Camelback trying to fit those hikes in before that closure that starts at 8 a.m. Like you mentioned, Camelback, Piestewa Peak, and South Mountain will be closed in just a few hours because of this first alert heat. And with rescue numbers already up this year, especially on Camelback, Piestewa, and South Mountain, firefighters are urging everyone to be smart and to know your limits today because rescues on those three mountains are already trending higher than this time last year. As we head into those dangerous first alert temperatures both today and tomorrow, Phoenix Fire Captain DJ Lee is reminding hikers that in triple-digit temperatures, you can lose 1 to 2 liters of water per hour. Add tough trails and rough terrain in the mix, things can go bad fast.
Now each one has its own dangers. Camelback has the very steep, high altitude increase, really short distance, uneven terrain, things like that. But South Mountain has the same dangers. It's hundreds of miles of trails. It's not necessarily as technical or as steep as, say, Camelback, but there's still the dangers and the risks there that they present.
Trails will be closed from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. today. That's Camelback, Piestewa Peak, and South Mountain. Firefighters are really urging you to not ignore the signs because they are up for your own safety. Scott Tess, I asked Captain Lee what he thinks is contributing to this surge in rescues, especially earlier in the year. He says record-breaking heat arriving earlier and seeing a lot more people hit the trails in the valley. I'll have more on that coming up at 7.